of the criminal information against Cohen, in which prosecutors say that when Michael Cohen got his reimbursement from the Trump organization, from the Trump business, for these expenses he had made during the campaign, the expenses of these, the payoff, which he now admits was an illegal, felonious expenditure. When he got reimbursement for that, for the illegal payoff, he also asked the Trump organization to pay him back $50,000 for, quote, tech services. And prosecutors say in the criminal information that $50,000 claim, quote, in fact, Cohen had solicited from a technology company during and in connection with the campaign. Michael Cohen supposedly wasn't part of the campaign at all. So under what circumstances would he have been spending a nice round $50,000 on something tech-related that in fact was for the campaign, that he would later seek reimbursement for from the Trump organization? He sought that reimbursement for that $50,000 in tech expenditures right alongside the reimbursement he was already getting from them for his illegal cash payoff to Stormy Daniels, the one that he's now going to do prison time for. We don't know that $50,000 was that Michael Cohen laid out to benefit the campaign and then he was paid back for by the Trump organization. We don't know what that was. But I will note for the record, just because you should know this is out there, that what Michael Cohen is accused of in the Steele dossier is meeting with Kremlin representatives in August and September 2016 to discuss, quote, deniable cash payments to operatives who were participating in the anti-Clinton hacking campaign organized by the Russian government. Quote, according to Redacted, the agenda comprised questions on how deniable cash payments were to be made to hackers who had worked in Europe under Kremlin direction against the Clinton campaign and various contingencies for covering up those operations. So he was there to discuss how to pay for the Russian hacking effort, according to the Steele dossier. If that really happened, is that something you might bill to the Trump organization as tech services? Alongside the porn star payoff that you billed to the Trump organization as legal retainer? Last night we talked about the fact that the closest parallel in American presidential history to what happened to Donald Trump yesterday is probably March 1st, 1974. That's the day Richard Nixon saw the indictment of his campaign chairman and his chief of staff and other top White House aides. When the grand jury indicted those 7 top Nixon staffers in 1974, we would soon learn that that grand jury also named the president himself as an unindicted co-conspirator. That was March 1st, 1974. By the end of that summer, by August, Nixon resigned the presidency, which then actually led to a fascinating few days of fierce national legal debate as to whether or not Nixon could actually get indicted then, once he was no longer president. Once there was no longer any constitutional issue as to whether he was protected from indictment because of the fact that he was a sitting president. We'll get to that in a few minutes with Michael Beschloss tonight. But in this case now, in 2018, with this president, there's no grand jury here. And there was no indictment because Michael Cohen pled guilty in open court rather than go through the process of being indicted and going on trial. He pled guilty and he apparently wants to talk about everything he knows. But no less so than in 1974, because of Michael Cohen, this president has now been named as an unindicted co-conspirator. And there are constitutional questions as to whether or not any president can be indicted while they are still serving as president.